Welcome to the WangHiro podcast, where we answer Malaysians' burning questions about personal finance with fact-based answers. Coming into some extra cash is always nice. It could be from a bonus, a change in your job, a side income, or for the very lucky among us, inheritance. Now comes the dilemma. If you have an extra 10k, 100k, a million, or even just 1k, what should you do with this extra cash? Of course, you could spend it on the shiny thing you've been eyeing on for a little while now, but there's also the option of doing something that might just help you in your future, financially speaking. And that is to either one, pay down your debt, or two, invest that money in a asset class that might give you a higher return. But the question is, which path should you take? Welcome back to WangHiro. Should you pay down your debt or invest your money? That's the question we'll help you to answer in our very first episode of a new series we called Extra Money, What to Do.
I like the title already, Louis. It's like we when we see Reddit threads or even like I don't think they do this on Facebook. Reddit is because the anonymity.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and this is a question that a lot of people, especially who are not comfortable with their own skills investing, this is a question that a lot of people struggle with. So I think there's always the emotional and financial aspects of this decision. People want to feel free. They go and see people who are like, oh, I live without debt, and they're like traveling to Bali, living the life that they want, right? But I think that's, for me, it's just a facade, because what's good to you may not be good to the person, you see? And they are happy to know that they don't have a nest egg, you know. A lot of these people who live this carefree kind of, you'll be surprised.
Really?
Those people who, you know, those digital nomads, right? They are willing to sell off everything, and they just know that they have money for the next 5 years. They don't think about like all the way till retirement, 50, 60 years. I said they will figure it out as they go along. You get me? I'm happy with this kind of lifestyle, but I think in an more Asian culture, I think pros and cons. I'm not saying that is bad and ours is good. I'm saying sometimes Asian culture, we think too far ahead. Oh, we save for retirement, we save, but we don't even know whether we're alive in 5 years, you know?
Like talking about this Asian culture, I used to save my best shirts for Chinese New Year. And then, true enough, what happened to my clothes was like, in that year, I was like saving the clothes, right? New clothes for months, you know? And then it was all burned in a house fire.
I'm so sorry, Louis.
Yeah, I was like, I think 5 or 6 pieces of like, wow, I was like, okay, I shouldn't wear it until Chinese New Year. I don't know why I had this culture, but I just had in my mind, like, I must wear the new shirt in Chinese New Year. Never got to wear it, and it's all ashes now.
Yeah. Actually, mine is I saved my Nike shoe, the first Nike shoe I could, my parents could afford to buy, and the whole thing molded and the whole plastic. So I didn't get to wear my shoe. So again, I think there's no right or wrong, but I think try to be in the moment lah. Not to go YOLO.
I mean, how about you, John? Like, what would you prefer? Are you that kind of like, you know, live for the moment, or like live for the future, or what
I'm more of the future kind of guy. Like, I'm always like worried that what if tomorrow comes and I don't have enough? And more I realize as life goes on, I'm more the moment kind of guy. I used to be like worry about 10 years or kingdom come kind of thing. And then more and more today, when I think maybe mortality is coming in, right? And then your children growing up, my children growing up, I have is like, hey, live for the moment, and with an eye in the future.
Just not to go too extreme on either end. Just
Correct.
Find that nice balance.
Yeah, I wouldn't YOLO and go and buy a Ferrari lah. That's for sure lah. That's me. It's just my culture. I wouldn't go YOLO. Actually, I learned this from a millionaire friend. I wouldn't reveal his identity because he likes to keep a low profile. I said he made this statement. He said, right, why do millionaires even save money? Because millionaires hardly spend money.
True, it's true. They have too much money, right?
Yeah, they have too much money. They hardly spend money, and if they make 10 million, and then they'll spend something like 500,000, and then they make 100 million, right? Then they'll spend like 1 million, you know, kind of thing. That's the like the sustainable millionaire that I see lah most of the
So
time.
like back then when I remember in our previous episode, one of our episodes where I talk about the house, right? Were you like in that mindset where you wanted to pay as much as possible from your income
Yes.
into the house?
Yes. And I think
Now it's less of that.
now totally the opposite. I want to pay just enough, just what the banks tell me. And I think it comes to realization. So I need to peel a little bit back, because here's the dilemma most people will face. Okay, so you got your first job, probably 2-3 years working. You're paid quite decently, and then you can afford a down payment, or either that or you have family support to support you to buy a house. Okay, so you buy a house, but you're not familiar with any other investing. You've not taken time to go and go and study investing. So you mainly rely on unit trust. Then you realize, return not so good. And at the same time, it's unknown to you. The unit trust advisor or someone selling to you a financial product, they'll say it's unknown to you. We cannot guarantee returns. Then in your mind, it's like, wow, but I have this debt that I need to settle. Every month you feel the pinch, because every month is an expense going up. Expense going on. I said, I can't buy my. Then here comes the third guilt. I can't buy my car, the luxurious lifestyle that I want. I cannot, because everything is being taken away. So what they try to attack is that, hey, I want to come to a point where I don't need to worry about payment for my house, then I can afford a nice meal. So again, the scarcity mindset comes in, because they're thinking like, this is my fixed salary, my salary is not going. So said, get away the pain first. I want to settle the pain. So that's one end of the thinking that I want to get rid of this, then I can live a lifestyle that I want. That's the retirement.
That's kind of true. I think I also had the similar mindset when I was in my 20s, but now I'm like mid-30s. I don't think that way anymore.
Good.
Like maybe income is different as well. So, but back then I was like, wow, I need to pay off. Like I think one of the things that is like quite common thinking in our culture is like debt is a bad thing.
Yes.
Like, debt is bad. You're like, oh, Chinese like 不要欠钱，不要欠钱，要还钱。
Don't owe money.
Pay off your money if you want to have money, So you want to don't owe anyone money, So make sure you pay. So like grow up in that kind of mindset lah. I mean myself, not my parents myself. I just thought, I don't want to owe anyone, even the bank's money, So
yes.
my first job, I was like, oh, quickly pay, I was like, but then I was like, wow, my income so low, I pay everything, I got nothing left,
Correct.
100 ringgit, and like, I can't afford a good meal. I just like eat as little as I can. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a very normal feeling, that you either stick with it, Louis, like what you just said, you stick with it, or you have to evolve around it lah.
So like John, right now, right, as like at WangHiro, I think we love running the numbers, right? In the previous episode, we ran it for the house.
Yes.
And now that you mentioned about like debt and alternatives, I didn't think of it that way. So debt is not an asset class, is it? It's
Nope.
not. It's not. Okay, it's just a liability altogether, right? So I think it's still worth like running the numbers to see. Okay. When does it make sense? Which scenario does it make sense to actually pay off your debts?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we have the one of the, I don't know what's the Huntington, is it a bank?
Yeah, it looks like a financial institution. It looks like a bank as well, because it's previous savings. I mean, great find. I think I just normally do it around a mental rough mental math in my head. It's like, what's the interest rate I pay? Is it compound? Is it the same equal to equal? Is it compound annually? And I do like, hey, if there's a delta of like 2%, here I go. I'm not going to pay down my debt. Like, okay, let me take a step back. Housing loans in Malaysia normally is BLR, or base lending rate, minus 2%. So long to short, you roughly pay about 4 to 5% in your housing loan in today's environment. Okay. So the other way to look at it is usually fixed D plus 1%. Usually, there's two ways, because it's all based on the OPR, the overnight policy rate. So banks will either subtract or add based on the OPR. Okay, so I look at it, usually is fixed D plus 1 or fixed D plus 2. Usually that's where your ballpark.
But it's like gonna be that straightforward. You just have to see the difference in the interest rates.
Usually it shouldn't be, but if you want to dig deeper into the mechanics, obviously it's not that. you have to put it out in an Excel table and then, stretch it over like projection, right? But for me, it's like my delta is big because I'm confident of generating at least 8, 10 kind of percent, right? So if your interest that you're paying down and you're only paying down 4%, and my delta is 6%, which is like more than double, then for me, no point going into the delta, the mechanics of like, but if your delta is small, that means what you're paying in loan is 4, and then what you think you can get is like 5, and your delta is only 1%, then it's worth going a little bit into the weeds to determine lah. That's my take lah. That's my take lah, right? Usually, where loans are on the extreme, then you better do the calculation. Like credit card, 15%. That one for me also actually don't need to calculate one. No matter what investment is gonna come, right? Unless it's lottery, you strike lottery, right? Which is 1 in a million chance also. Credit card debt don't even need to negotiate. Just pay that off.
Like, John, if it's like credit card debt that we're talking about, then we don't even need to put the numbers into this calculator, is it?
Yeah, exactly. It's a no-brainer, It's like I was sharing with you before the pod. I was like doing a pod with KC as well, right? I said, this is a real life scenario, Louis. I had a friend, 60,000 in unit trust, okay, 20,000 fixed D here and there, okay, but he had 80,000 in credit card debts. So he was asking me for the 60,000, how can I optimize it plus his fixed D lah? I said, friend, don't even waste your time. I said, don't even waste your time. If I were you,
it's already net negative, right? Somewhat.
You may get comfort that your unit trust is giving you 8% whatsoever, but you are snowballing on your credit card, So I said,
that's true.
Your credit card is guaranteed minimum 15%, guaranteed. And then if you snowball, it may even turn up 18, or even effective rate can even be 30 because it's compound on compound, compound on the interest that you still leave, right? Because it's principal plus the interest that you're getting, and then compound some more 15%, 15 or 18, and then usually net net effective interest rate can sometimes go up to about 30%.
Wow.
Yeah, if you do the math, right? So I told him, friend, drop everything, forget about your investments, forget about even going to courses, forget about ETF, nothing. Just settle that first. You get rid of that. If you have housing loan, no problem. Housing loan is
how about like loan consolidation?
Yes, that could work. That means you try to like, maybe if you go to AKPK and then you have several credit cards, and then one is like a longer, you snowball it longer already, right? Then you consolidate into, maybe do a balance transfer. Do a balance transfer to another card, then you drag a little bit, but you settle off as fast as you can, that one. Then you lower your interest rate lah. That one, if you reach that level, I really think just go AKPK. Our taxpayers' money is already paying for that. And then AKPK can go to the bank, try to renegotiate the rate for you. It says, this guy, he has a consistent payment, can you lower the interest? Everything can be negotiated. One, the problem is when people get there, there's few things they feel ashamed. They don't dare to tell their family. Usually it's for bad reasons that they got into this, either spending habits or investment loss or whatever lah. All right.
I think with credit cards, it's usually like shopping. I feel like it's shopping. Yeah.
For this guy, it wasn't shopping lah. It was something else lah. So I do pity him also lah. I can't review lah. It's a bit too private for him.
Understand.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we run some numbers here, John? Just to
so let's just
very simple calculator, but let's see.
Yeah, I think it was quite good. The one you found is credit to Louis, found this. I think it's quite good. I'm only let's say 5,000 lah. Okay, make it simple. Interest on your debt, let's just say. No, if you want to make it realistic, we have to make a housing loan. Let's say 500,000.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Right, and then your interest rate, let's say 5%. Okay, debt in tenure, so 30 years times 12. So 360. Right? 360 months, ma.
Yeah, months.
Okay. Amount you can save monthly 150. The rate you earn on your savings is 3%. So this one is, I'm guessing this is for your top up, right, Louis? Amount of money you can save. The extra top up that you can put in every month, right?
Correct. Yep. because
rate
it's to go against the monthly payments there.
Okay. Let's say if you increase that 3,000, 500,000 30-year loan, you roughly pay about 3,000 ringgit. Okay, so let's just say if you can up it to 1,000 here every month. This rate, is this adjustable rate you can earn on savings?
Yeah.
This is
Also
your
adjustable.
50 lah.
Yep.
This is your
It can
50
be
lah.
like if we put a lower one, it would be the 60, higher one maybe EPF. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you put like 7-8%,
Mm.
then only your interest reduction. But if it's like at 3%, right?
Paying off debt.
Yeah, you see the interest you save 31,000, and then interest rate reduction on debt will save you 1.6 million. Okay,
Oh.
we go higher. Rate you earn on your savings. It should be the other way around. Interest earned on savings. Okay, this one I understand. 3% is saying, okay, I think what it's saying is that if your savings rate is 3, you are doing better by putting more into the loan. That means you save more. But if you're an ETF, let's say 10 9 still doesn't beat, because the amount you can save monthly 1,000, unless you can be the same. No? It means instead of paying off your installment or buying a house and then you pay off installment, the amount of money that you are using to pay off the installment is subsequently channeled to an investment. That's where your debt reduction is less, but then the earnings earned on the savings is more.
That's very interesting, because in fact there are like, on top of that factor of like just looking at the interest rate, right, difference, you also have to consider the monthly.
Correct.
If it doesn't match, in fact, it's better for you to just pay off your debt.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting.
Yes.
I didn't consider that part of it, like that, the monthly, like, so I always thought like, okay, maybe if the interest was different only, right? So in fact, you have to consider, maybe John, let's try to do like a credit card one, a lower, like maybe let's put a 10,000 on credit card.
Okay.
15%.
Okay, so 10,000 on a credit card, and then interest on it's 15.
15, that will be 10.
This one will be, let's say, usually it's 1 year no, months. You take it 3 years so 336 off. Okay, amount of money you can save usually is, people who are already in credit card debt usually don't save that much, so maybe 100. Rate you earn on savings, you see don't even need to say even if you earn 15%, but okay because monthly also very small actually the base case scenario for credit card debt is guaranteed, is compound, settle it as soon as you can Yeah, but with
you don't need a calculator to tell us that.
yeah, you don't need a calculator to tell you that. I think more importantly also is this you go into this emotional spiral as well, because it's as if you're digging a hole and you're never getting out, because it's compound. Whereas for a housing loan, at least there's a collateralized asset that increases in value. Whereas in credit card, whatever you buy, you think of it, whatever you buy, most likely it's a liability that depreciates in value. True. And there's no offset of a collateralized asset that's going up in value, That's how I look at it. Am I making sense to you, Louis?
Yeah, it is like, wow. I mean, it's much scarier than I thought. I mean, seeing the numbers always is scarier, like when you showed the property investment one. So I think the message is kind of clear here. If you have too much debt, it might be better off just to pay off the debt first. And even if like, okay, so I always wonder, like, I always had this question. Now the answer is quite clear. Like I always wonder, like, okay, maybe you can do both, right? Like pay off debt and then also invest at the same time, just portion it But obviously, even if you did that with this amount of debt, it wouldn't make sense.
Yes.
Credit card debt, like the example that you give of your friend, you have to just pay it off, right? Or else the debt will grow bigger than your investments at one point, right?
Exactly.
So you need another calculator just to graph it out. You're like, wow. Like now it's like almost same, right? On par, like
Yeah.
60K plus 20K. Now it's on par, but like give it another year. Give it another year and you'll
Because
be
it snowballs, it's compound, it's whatever, and then if you are settling
principal
minimum
plus
payment,
interest plus interest.
yes. It's
Mhm.
not investing snowball, it's like interest on that snowball. So that's
Good
why
for the bank.
yes.
That's why the banks like us to have many credit cards, right?
Correct.
So that they can. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite clear. If you have too much debt on your credit cards, you want to pay that off first. If not,
Yes.
but I mean, what kind of scenario where it will actually just be better to invest? Like if you have. So if we run the calculator and we're like, okay, like you see, you had to go up to like 10%.
Yep.
10% of like, it like returns to see any kind of like movement there, to match the service loan rate and then high returns.
Yes.
That's not typical in Malaysia, I think.
No.
EF gives us about 5-6%.
Yeah. And that's why we have this ETF compounding cost, because we feel that looking at your time ratio, looking at fees, minimize of fees, right? If you just get a normal S&P 500, you're already doing like 9%, 10% over like 10, 20 years. And I think that's where a right balance is, Louis, because people who buy individual stocks, you need to do tons of research, you need to have conviction, you need to have the skills to construct portfolio. Whereas, on the ETF side, the moment you have the basic skill set of how to construct your basic portfolio, you already have a machine that can help compound yourself with very little time. And I think that's where the balance of what we try to do, and we try to give almost like a hands-free kind of investing vehicle, comparatively to the other vehicles that we have available to us. Yeah.
Yeah, I think also that this method, right, the ETF compounders, I'll share a link below for those who are interested to explore more. Is that you don't have it only works if it's like you're not having like credit card debt.
Correct.
We've seen, right? Nothing beats the credit card debt. How
Correct.
year on year nobody can guarantee 15%, 20%, and then the snowball of that, right? Nothing can guarantee that. So
Yeah.
if you have that, then you wanna pay that off first.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's very clear. Any last words before we close, John?
No. I think you can wrap it up and then give those
Okay.
action points to our listeners.
So I'll leave a link to the calculator that we shared during this episode in the comment section. The description below. So over to you now. Do you prefer using your extra money to pay off debt or to invest? What have you done with your money so far? Leave your answers in the comment sections below. And if you enjoyed today's episode, give us a thumbs up. It will help us with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want more personal finance content like this, make sure to subscribe to WangHiro. We'll see you again in our next episode. Bye-bye.